The Detroit Lions were one step away from the Super Bowl. One step for their first ever Super Bowl. And they were close, man. They were getting there. Everything seemed to be going right at first. They were really one half away from the Super Bowl. I mean, they led most of the whole game. Things were going perfectly. I mean, if you watched my last video, you know that they did everything I said that they would need to do to be in this game. Not only be in this game, but to win this game. They went out. They scored early. They scored on both of their first two possessions. They established the running game so well to start the game. Jahmyr Gibbs was having one heck of a first half. He played the lights out. They got an extra possession in the form of a missed Jake Moody field goal. That was huge. Everything was going right. And they got an extra possession on the interception. I mean, they looked good. They got out to an early first half lead. They established their lead. They built upon that lead, even ending with a field goal to essentially take it to halftime, taking them a 24-7, 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game on the road. They had momentum. Everything was going their way. And then the second half hit. Yeah. The second half got ugly really fast. Really, really fast. I mean, the Niners get the ball to start, right? And I said that was another thing, is that they had to protect themselves from the last 2 minutes of the first half and the first 2 minutes of the second half to avoid that momentum. In the first half, they were the ones to end with a field goal. Perfect. To start the second half, well, the Niners march down the field and they pick up some points in the form of a field goal. A field goal, not too bad, right? And I agree. They were perfectly fine. Then they unraveled completely. What happened? They took the ball. They were marching down the field. If they respond, no harm, no foul, right? You just move on. All right, they were still in the driver's seat if they put points up on the board, whether it be a field goal and especially if it be a touchdown. So they marched down the field. And then on 4th and 5, or 4th and 2, it might have been 4th and 2 here. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt. 4th and 2, Dan Campbell, who is known to be aggressive. I get it. That's what makes the Lions so good. They've been aggressive, they've been hungry, they've been ferocious, they show no mercy, and they do what they got to do to win football games. And Dan Campbell went with his gut. He did his thing. He did the typical Dan Campbell thing to do, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? We talk very highly of Dan Campbell. He led this team to their greatest season ever. It's hard to be mad at Dan Campbell. But in this instance, I was shouting at the TV. 4th and 2 from San Francisco's 28-yard line. A 44-yarder or whatever that might be field goal for Michael Badgley, who is more than capable to hit that kick. They declined to go for it. They decide to go for the first down conversion, and it doesn't pan out. First off, if you're going to go for it, as well as Jahmyr Gibbs was running it up to that point, run the football. But they didn't. And second, when you're going up against such a high-powered defense in the 49ers, and you have the lead, and you have momentum, and you have control of this football game, and you got to do everything you can to keep the 49ers out of this one, to keep that fan base from getting too far into this game, to getting too riled up so it's out of control for you. Momentum is the biggest advantage in all of sports. If you want to secure a win that you're already leading, you keep momentum on your side. How do you do that? You take points. You don't give them the big plays. You don't turn the ball over. Because what did San Francisco do? They went down and they scored a touchdown themselves. Letting them score, coming out of half, turn the ball over on downs, and then letting them score again, but not just a field goal, now it's a touchdown. Killer for momentum. Killer. Still manageable. Okay? We really need to go down the field and put points back up on the board. Get that fan base out of here again and still show them who's on top. Show them what the scoreboard looks like. One play later, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles the ball. And I'm not saying it's the young rookie's fault. Like, fumbles happen, especially against a good defense. But that hurts. It really hurts. Especially when it leads to another 49ers touchdown. A lot of things should have gone differently here, right? In this scenario. If the defense could have got stops instead of letting 3 straight possessions to start the half, if Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't fumble the football, obviously they're in a better place. And if Dan Campbell doesn't go for it on 4th down and gets another 3 points on the board, okay, we're in great shape at that point. All of these things happen. Momentum is 100% on the San Francisco side now. Lions defense proceeded to give up points on every single possession by the San Francisco 49ers in the second half. Every single possession minus the last one where they kneeled the clock out. That's horrible. That cannot happen. And on top of that, and it really doesn't help your defense when you turn the ball over yet again on downs. They did the same thing, pretty much the same scenario deep into San Francisco territory. They decided to go for it again on 4th down and come up short yet again. When they easily could have kicked another field goal, made it another multiple possession game, and decided not to. Decided to get greedy, decided to be aggressive, however you want to call it. And again, that's just Dan Campbell nature. If you can do anything to halt momentum, such as putting points on the board, you have to do that. With how good the 49ers defense is and has been for what seems like 8 years now, you have to get points when they give it to you. There was that, and then there was all she wrote. Niners proceed to go take the lead. Dan Campbell decides to go for it yet again on a 4th down. This time it works and it goes into a touchdown. But even on that call, I disagree. I mean, I think you take your 3 points because no matter what, you have to score 2 possessions. And you can at least give yourself a chance if you kick the field goal. If you miss it, obviously there's no chance anymore. I think Dan Campbell learned a big lesson in momentum, because that is what killed the Detroit Lions in the second half. Take points when you can get them. Extend your lead. It's always a good thing. And the last thing they didn't do is they didn't win the turnover battle. That was the one thing in my video that they didn't do. And they could have. If you look at actual takeaways, it was 1-1. Right? There was the Brock Purdy interception, and there was the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. But that's what I'm saying. They turned the ball over 2 times on missed conversions, on 4th downs. They gave it over on downs. You know, I'd even consider the 49ers missing a field goal, a turnover. So they really only lost by 1. But that's a 2 differential, right? We needed the Lions to win the turnover battle by at least 1, and they just didn't do that. They didn't do that. And if they did, of course, with how close this game was to begin with, it only ended in a 3-point loss for the Lions. What I'm saying, depending on when that turnover is and momentum, changes the whole game. I knew it was going to be a tall task for the Lions. But when they had everything going right in the first half, it was just so disappointing to see it unravel and unravel so quickly. That's all. That's all. They had this game and they let it go. They could have been to the Super Bowl. They should have been to the Super Bowl. So it is what it is. I'm with Dan Campbell. When he said in his postgame that it's going to be harder to get back, it absolutely is. This could exactly be like the Jacksonville Jaguars, led by Blake Bortles, with that amazing defense, got to the AFC Championship game after beating a really good Steelers team and fell to the Patriots and just never was the same. Kind of could be the same vibes there. I hope not. And I think Dan Campbell's the guy to avoid that, but things have to change. The team has to get better. Has to stay hungry. Absolutely. Let me know, what do you think? Are the Lions going to make it back this year? Let me know who you got, Chiefs, 49ers. We'll talk about that here soon. We'll talk about the NFL awards. So subscribe, fellas. A lot coming your way, plus some basketball content. The NBA is just getting good, fellas. All-Star break coming up soon.